Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Suicide Squad Dream Team issue 4 by Nicole Maines, Eddie Barrows and Iba Ferreira. Dreamer's time with the Suicide Squad comes to an end, or does it, as the group which was once her team capture her and transport her back to Waller on Gomorrah. Dreamer of course isn't going without a fight and tries to escape so she can stop Waller before she ends the world, like what she saw in her visions. Deadeye and the others continue to big up Waller, which has really been something I don't like about the series. Like, we get it. She's a bad guy, she's the big bad guy of this new event, and we know she's evil and she's a bad guy with all the bases covered. But the book bends over backwards to just keep on reminding us of that. As Dreamer stages her breakout, she reveals that when she battled Bizarro briefly in Parthas, she hit him with dream energy that removed the bomb from his brain, meaning that he is the only one of the team who can actually be a hero and save them. The way Bizarro has been handled in this series is, ironically, pretty bizarre. Early on in the book, they set up that they are trying to make Dreamer convince him that he's a hero, and he's trying to show them that he is a hero in his own way. It's Bizarro, he does things opposite of what Superman would do. But then about halfway through issue 2, they just kind of shift gears and have him just murder a woman in cold blood, then revert back to the hero storyline where he's kind of like the big dumb lout of the team. It's all over the place, and when what happens later on in the book happens, we're meant to kind of feel something that we've been on a journey with this character, but because of all of the unevenness that happens with the story, his big moment later on just kind of falls flat. Bizarro ends up helping Dreamer and frees her, allowing Nia to take her powers back from Black Alice, who had siphoned them off. Dreamer is knocked out again by the rush of power back into her, and Clock King springs into action. William feels like the only real consistent character throughout the book, and he's definitely been a highlight for me. I quite like that they turned this real C and D list villain into like a credible, creepy threat. Seeing that Bizarro has now gone rogue and Dreamer is trying to escape, he kind of takes over the team since he's kind of the true leader of the team, just kind of leading it from the back, sort of puppeting everyone, and he tries to kill Bizarro with a blue kryptonite bullet. However, Nia awakens up in the nick of time and ends up saving Bizarro. Deadeye also gets a moment to battle Nia, and again, like, his character is just so inconsistent because in the lead up to all of this, through like Night Terrors and Beast World and the stuff that happened just before this series debuted, Archie, or Deadeye, was vehemently against Amanda and actively like fighting against his aunt. So much so that in Beast World he actually had joined a team called the Network, who were a group of superheroes led by Val-Zod and Vixen and Batwing and all these really interesting characters, and that went absolutely nowhere. And now in this series, Deadeye is back to being sort of Waller's lackey, and he is really the main culprit of all of the whole Waller is a bad guy, we can't stop her because there's bombs in our head, you know, we just have to bow to her wishes. He's the biggest culprit of that throughout this entire book, and it's a complete shift from what we saw before where he's actively fighting against her and trying to take her down from within, and he's not doing that at all throughout this series. Dreamer and Deadeye's battle ends up blowing out the back of the plane, and Bizarro is forced to save the rest of the team while Nia rides the exploding plane down to Gomorrah, all while Waller is waiting for the team to arrive, so she gets a front row view of the plane crashing on the outskirts of Gomorrah. The book is still doing the sleep deprived Waller, being that she's not going to sleep because she fears that Dreamer will invade her minds and possibly try and kill her, and I think that's a great idea for the character. It's kind of given her both a handicap and also kind of an upgrade because obviously she's not running on much sleep, so she's a little bit more agitated and angrier and erratic, which makes her even more deadly, which I think is really quite interesting and a really cool way to go with the character, but they don't really do much with it, and I kind of wish they did. I kind of wish we got to see a little bit more of Amanda sort of breaking down mentally, but just trying her hardest to keep it all together so her plan in Absolute Power can be pulled through. And hopefully we do actually get to see that continue in Absolute Power. That would be really cool to see her just get more and more erratic over the course of the series. Dreamer is saved from the crashing plane by Bizarro, who gets his hero moment, but before she can escape, Bizarro is shot in the head by a blue kryptonite bullet and killed. This is the moment I was referring to earlier where something big happens with Bizarro and I just don't really care. Like, again, like if his story was a little bit more consistent, I think maybe I would, but I never particularly liked this version of Bizarro because he's like a weird holdover from the New 52, and we have the real Bizarro back now. He's been in Action Comics, you know, the one from Bizarro World. So this Bizarro just feels like kind of like a leftover no one knew what to do with, so they've just kind of killed him off. And maybe if he had a little bit of a better going out, then I would have cared, but I just really don't. Dreamer finally confronts Waller, and we learn that she's building a giant prison on Gamora, which I guess was her ultimate goal for Gamora, besides taking over its tech wing, but the book never really made it clear why she exactly wanted the island nation. And I said it would have been really cool for her to, like, you know, be fighting for America and America's standards while like hiding away on an island away from America. I think that's kind of interesting, but they never do anything with it. Again, something with Waller that could have been interesting is never done anything with. We learn that Waller isn't alone, as it's revealed that Floyd Lawton is not only alive and well, but working for Waller again, and he was the one who killed Bizarro. Last we saw Lawton, he was, I believe, in the service of Harvey Dent, who had become Two-Face again, and he was brought back with the Lazarus resin. It was in that Task Force Z book that I kind of sort of read once it was all collected, but don't really remember much about it. But I know he was brought back and he was kind of in the service of Two-Face, and I don't know how he's ended up back in the service of Waller, because before all the Task Force Z stuff, Tom Taylor wrote an excellent Suicide Squad book which ended with Floyd actually being killed, and he had a great character arc in that book where he went against Waller for his family and everything, and here it just kind of undoes that, especially because now he's back working with Waller. I guess they could probably hand wave it away in saying that, oh, because he was brought back with the Lazarus resin, he's, you know, a bit more compliant and Waller, you know, got control over him or something, but it just feels like, again, regressing a character back to an earlier state for no real reason whatsoever. Again, Dreamer tries to stop Waller by trying to convince her that what she is doing is evil, and I kind of actually like this part because Waller admits that she knows what she's doing is evil and has abused her power, but she just doesn't give a shit, and I actually quite like that. I like that they're writing Waller like that, like she just does not care. And I can see what the book is doing, and it's trying to tell Dreamer that she can't save everyone. That was sort of like the thing in the first issue where Waller is telling her that she can't do that and you have to make the tough choices as a hero because that's what makes a hero. The problem is that Nia kind of sort of learnt this lesson during Beast World when she was able to use all of her powers to save everyone in A-Town without anyone dying. So we're just kind of relearning the same lesson again. It just doesn't make much sense to me. After listening to Waller prattle on for a little bit, Dreamer kind of snaps and actually attacks Waller, tossing her out of a window to her death. But this reveals kind of the last twist to the book, that her heart rate was connected to two other beings, and with her dying, those other people did as well. And the big twist is that Waller tracked down Paul and Maeve Nell, Nia's father and her sister, respectively, tying nanite bombs to their heads to Waller's heart rate. So when heart rate went down on Waller, they were both killed. The twist keeps coming as Dreamer just saw this in the future, and this is everything we've seen up until when she burst down the door has been like a vision, a future vision, and Waller knew she would see that because that's how her powers work, and thus Dreamer is left to toe the line and follow Waller's command lest her family be killed. So first of all, I kind of like the twist. It's kind of a tropey twist, but I really do like that, you know, that kind of classic Waller play to target the family and kind of, you know, use them as hostages more or less. But second of all, this book did not need to be 4 issues at all if this was the entire premise to get Dreamer to work for Waller. It could have been done in maybe one oversized special. You set it up with the team led by Deadeye are sent to Parthas to get Dreamer. Dreamer, you know, fucks with their mind in the dream world. They capture her and Dreamer goes for Waller, only learning that her family has been taken, and then Dreamer is forced to work with Waller. That's that simple. You could have just done it in one oversized, you know, 40-page book. On top of that, this book is meant to tie into Absolute Power, but it didn't give us any new information than what you would have known without reading this. There's nothing in this that really stood out to me as like, oh, that's gonna come back later. One big consistency over all 4 issues though has been Eddie Barrows and Iber Ferreira's artwork. I think it was the proper level of detailed and grimy for a Suicide Squad storyline, and I really loved how they depicted Dreamer's powers, having all sorts of fun with different types of paneling and page composition that made her powers seem very fun. Suicide Squad Dream Team issue 4 rounded out the series with a rather lackluster finale that left the characters in the exact same place we began with them. The series didn't delve into any of these characters in any meaningful way, or even set up the story to the big absolute power event that this book is supposed to be a prequel to. Besides a few small nuggets of interesting story beats and some great artwork by Eddie Barrows and Iber Ferreira, Dream Team is quite a bust for me. I'm going to give this issue a 4 out of 10.